This is a Dev Talk initiative where we take short interviews from the developers, and we are at the PiterPy conference right now. Here is Piotr Migdal, our speaker, who came here from Poland, I believe.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. Could you introduce yourself a little bit?
Okay, so my name is Piotr, and I live in Warsaw, Poland, and I'm a data scientist. Mostly what I do is I consult deep learning projects, and also I provide workshops for business clients, usually introduction to deep learning for computer vision or language processing.
And also, I believe at the after party, I've heard you're also in the organization of PyData.
Yes, that's right. So it's the second year when I co-organize PyData Warsaw conference. So this year it's going to be November 19th, 20th. I think there are still a few tickets left, but it's.
Once again, PyData Poland or PyData?
PyData Warsaw conference. So this different thing is a meetup, and different thing is the event.
How big is the conference itself?
So the same way as the last year, so something like 450 people.
Pretty big. And how many days? How many tracks?
It's there are 2 days, and I don't know if you set it up for 3 or 4 tracks, but more or less 50 talks or so.
That's impressive a little bit. And what is the language of that tracks? Is it entirely in English?
Not only Python. So there's because all tracks is in English. So all talks are in English and all tutorials. When it comes to language, when it comes to programming language, even though it's focused more or less around Python, it's mostly a data science conference. So there are talks in Scala, there are talks in R or Julia.
And if I know the brand of PyData correctly, you're focusing on the engineering issues more than the scientific ones or stuff like that.
Well, it depends. So each conference is a bit different. In the case of this PyData Warsaw, we focus on this machine learning part. So there are many things about machine learning models. Almost always about practical applications, not for business or for research, but practical ones. At the same time, it's there are also some events more about big data, or about pipelines. In our case, it's mostly machine learning.
And I believe you visited other events too, not only in Poland, or
yes.
How would you compare, say, event in Poland with event in Germany or Russia, stuff like that?
Okay, so each conference is different. So when it comes to PyData, I only went to 2 other PyDatas, except from Poland, and it was Berlin twice. And it's kind of similar size. When it comes to the choice of topics is different and depends on both applicants.
How exactly could it be different?
So
for example,
it depends on 2 things, who applies, which, because people choose from some set, and what's the preference for topics. Some prefer, I don't know, practical problems, some prefer autos of libraries, some other prefer more pipelines, some other prefer more language features, some others machine learning and stuff.
What about level of hardcore? I mean, talks for juniors, talks for middles, talks for seniors. Do you see any notable differences, visible difference between the conferences?
When it comes to this case, not that much. So it's usually it's mostly for people who know a bit, but they don't need to be expert. And because there are topics with various subjects, and it depends what you know. You can always learn some things. At the same time, when it comes to conferences, I think one thing is about talks, but the most important is about networking and talking to people. Because everything is online in one way or the other, but it's not that easy to talk with people, to have honest discussion, to get into details, some solutions. Sometimes, it's not online, nowhere. But when it comes to conferences, except for PyData, I went to quite a few different ones, but also in the US, some big ones 5,000 people, some mid-size, some small ones, and each conference has its own taste. So it's of course I can go and list all of them and say the best parts and the worst parts, but each one is different. It depends on organizers, on the venue, it's big, small, is more like general one or more like very focused.
And how exactly do you feel at this conference,
What?
PiterPy? Is it your first PiterPy?
Yes, my
How
first
do
PiterPy.
you feel there, and how was your talk?
Okay, so like, generally it's like my first time to PiterPy and also first time to St. Petersburg and first time to Russia.
Whoa!
So it's
Congratulations!
Like, yes, I'm very
And
happy that
welcome.
I'm here. I like it a lot. So like it's because it's I think the size conference I like the most because if it's too big, you see a lot of people but you don't interact with people. And here it's possible to, if I talk with someone, then I see them again, and I have already had quite a few nice conversations about mostly about data science and actually visualization.
I believe one of those conversations you had with Lena Savelyeва, you left there impressed.
Yeah, but it was like, but no, it actually was not our first conversation because like we were talking about visualization at her stand. It's a very interesting person. Yep. So this is what I like. Also, like what I like is there's also other event like this Linux conference. I wanted to attend 2 talks, but unfortunately they were exactly colliding with mine. Like one just before and one during mine. So it was about one Monty about MariaDB and the other about pretty easy privacy. And then again I can talk with them before.
Pretty easy privacy, you mean the Linux track?
Yes, the Linux track. So when it comes to things, but unfortunately, well, I talked with the speakers, but on the days before, which was also nice. So the thing I like, I don't know, just I know like this is kind of general, and well.
Well,
So far, I'm having happy time here.
Thank you. I would also very curious to ask you about what you do on your job, because you mentioned that you are a consultant,
Yes.
and maybe I'm mistaken, but in my opinion, it's sort of a rare thing, because most of the people work full time in office or full time remote and stuff like that. And have you ever been a consultant, for example?
Well, like
All your working life, you were being a consultant, or not?
No, like
How did you become?
Okay, so most of my working life, or sort of working life, I was a researcher. So like I finished my PhD in quantum physics.
So you're coming to software development from the world of science?
Yes, from the world of science. So like I had a strong background in mathematics and statistics, but I had to learn Python and stuff to be able first to. It was easy to learn basics, but it's much more complicated to learn good patterns when it comes to software engineering. Usually, by the way, people from academia write the worst code because at the same time they don't know good patterns, how to develop good code. At the same time, they are very smart, so they are able to create very smart code that works, but also ones that only they understand. So it's. But in any case, like I started learning Python and R and JavaScript at that point. And then even before I finished my PhD, I decided to go into data science after an internship in San Francisco. Decided, okay, I want to go there. And in the last 4 years, I was like either consulting or like freelance work, some concrete projects. I started away because I wanted to have freedom to travel, freedom to run, to create some volunteering projects, mostly teaching high school students. And then I decided so that I like it that way. So even though it's of course much easier to get full-time job, because most offers are full-time jobs, mostly on site or like maybe on site and maybe some remote. But so far it's like in the last 4 years were very nice that way.
Well, it sounds cool, and I'm actually thinking about trying to become a consultant one day.
Yeah, so I like it a lot, but at the same time it's also a matter of personality. That some people would love it, some people would hate it. Maybe love it, but wouldn't. It's not easy to find clients for everyone because it's some kind of snowball effect. For me, it worked because I started doing it on site when I finished my PhD. So like a few projects for evenings and weekends, and then later once you have a few good recommendations, they recommend other people, then they email you, and some projects turn into some contracts. So for example, I don't know, like I got like to Poland to one conference, and then like in next Monday and Tuesday, I give a deep learning for language processing workshop in Prague for one client. So it's like just a lot of time conferences, which also to some extent marketing, in the sense that one thing is fun and learning, but to a large extent it's talking to people, talking if they are, and then maybe 6 months later or a year later, someone mails me that okay, they have this problem. Do they solve these kind of problems?
Well, I'm just hoping the conference is still going, and since your first time in Russia, you maybe know that tomorrow will be a tour of the city for the speakers, and you're coming.
Yes, I'm coming.
Like, great.
I'm coming, and also.
And I hope you love it.
Also staying for the most of Monday just to see things. Though I already with a few friends already did some work the last night. It is like very impressive, like very beautiful architecture. Maybe
well, it's very nice to hear that. I hope you love your second day and your third day. Thank you very much.
So thank you.